So I'm Sam, Sam VERSCHRAEGEN. I just did a talk about my career trajectory thing.
Right there.
Yeah. That's the easy part now. I can see when they're done, so I know when we need to wrap up guests.
Yes. Yeah, so I did digital arts and entertainment 13 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I think you were from the third year, like 2008,
something like that. I think right? I graduated in like 11. I think.
11, yeah.
And then I basically was able to like work my way up, like kind of within Belgium, outside of Belgium, towards Sony, and now Disney is like the latest.
Yeah, because
spot
you've
that I
worked
landed
on
in.
some pretty big movies, we can say.
I guess, yeah.
I think a lot of people in chat will love the things you've worked on, or love the things you've worked on.
Worked on some cool stuff, yeah, no, for sure.
But let's first talk about your talk. What was it about?
It was basically me talking about my career. So it's just, hey, talk about yourself.
Easy.
I mean, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, you need to talk. Oh, about my work. Okay.
Yeah.
15 minutes in there, like,
No, about your career, you dumb.
So I was a big fan of Panic at the Disco.
Yes. I played soccer when I was 4.
Yeah, about
everything goes.
The career stuff.
All right. And
it was fun. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So what does your job entail?
3D animation. So I basically breathe life into dead characters.
Yeah.
Make sure they have emotion, make sure they have, everything you need to relate to them when you see them on screen. That's
All
it.
right. And mostly humans, or also?
It depends. It depends on the kind of shows. Like it can be humans or animals. A lot of talking animals, unfortunately. I don't know. A lot of talking animals.
Talking objects.
Talking objects,
Usually
whatever.
the acting like
toaster?
a dog.
Yeah. But yeah, it depends. It depends on the show. And then I worked on a lot of different shows. So it can vary.
What are you working on now?
I can't say what I'm working on.
I realized when I was asking you.
So it's okay.
What was the last project?
Yeah, the last show, or the last movie I worked on was MOANA 2.
Oh wow!
So we wrapped.
Couple of weeks.
It's coming out, in the end of November, I think. We saw it. Me and my partner saw it. I think 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Like that was the first official screening for the crew.
Yeah, and
you're still
singing.
A lot of singing. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. A lot of singing. But it's nice.
Yeah, my wife likes it.
Yeah, it's a good sequel.
All right.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm biased. And it's also hard as well for me to say how it was.
What characters do we need to look out for in the movie that you worked on?
That I worked on. I think the most. I didn't really work on the chicken that much. I think I mostly had shots with MOANA.
Wow.
If there's a shot where she gets darted in the butt and falls off screen, that's one of my shots. There's
How long does a shot take to build?
It depends. It can really be a long time. I worked on one shot that was, I maybe worked on it for like a month and a half or 2 months. And it's like,
how long is it? I expected worse. So.
That was maybe like an 8 to 10 second shot.
All right. So that's,
but it depends. Like it can be, I would say for like a 2 second, 3 second shot, like a medium normal shot, like a week, maybe 2 weeks.
How many shots do you work on that get scrapped?
Oh, I mean, a lot. But some people get it worse than others. Like I was kind of lucky enough to not have that much work cut from the movie, but other people
scripted and then roughed out, or like rough edges.
Yeah, in terms of the animation thing, or just in general.
Yeah, before it gets scrapped, right? I mean, I don't think a lot of scenes that are fully fleshed out that get scrapped. That's an interesting question, right?
You'd wish.
Zoom in on that face. Because it's
you'd wish, or you'd think, but that's not the case. The thing is, especially with Disney, story is king or queen. Story is the key, right? So if the story is not working, they'll change whatever they have to change. And that can be fully fleshed out sequence. That can be fully done, lit, rendered, comped stuff. If it doesn't benefit the movie, or if it doesn't benefit the story, because you have to have a good story, then they might scrap it. Yeah, it depends.
I had to cry in a scene while acting, and they cut it.
No, probably took you a while to maybe get to cry, or you.
Yeah, it's a bummer thing to do.
Yeah,
just sitting there like, okay, get into a headspace where you're really, really sad, and it's gonna take a while to get out of it. And just, all right, tears are coming, action. It's not in the movie. Fuck.
Yeah, it's kind of shit. No, yeah, it's
a terrible movie as well. It never came out.
That's too bad. But unfortunately, it's kind of like part of the deal, Like, and a lot of people, I mean, everybody kind of knows, like, okay, I'm working on movies, working on shows, like. it's
working
not in
on
your
anything, right?
Yeah, it's not in your control. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, a lot of stuff gets scrapped in games as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And a shot. You work on the characters themselves, so not on the backgrounds and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, not really on the backgrounds. Everything that moves basically, except for like cloth and hair.
Oh yeah,
you know?
That's a whole other.
Yeah, that's a bunch of different other departments.
Those are the real nerds.
I mean, that's more like kind of programming and more simulation stuff.
Yeah.
Not easy, and they did a good job on this one as well. But like I did a shot with MOANA on a raft in the water and stuff, so I had to animate the raft and the mast. And
but I guess not the water.
Not the water, but we had like a dummy version, like a low poly version of the water to know what it would be like. You know?
Yeah, so try to explain to the people like how do you get something where you have to like put your identity on? Like, do you get like the 3D? I don't know how it works, right?
Well,
like,
what we receive.
Yeah, like
so we basically receive like a layout. That's like the latest stage before it comes to us, and layout is basically a glorified like storyboard phase, but in 3D. So you get like people in T poses.
Oh yeah, so
like, it's moving around and like.
It looks like game development, right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, I guess maybe, yeah. Yeah, I haven't really worked that much on games, so I don't know how. But would assume,
T-posing,
just to kind of set up the cameras usually, and where the character's going to be, but you have to figure all that out when you animate. Yeah.
So you also do the camera angling then?
I mean, we usually don't do the first camera pass, but we touch the camera if we feel like, hey, this camera move could be a little bit quicker to support the action that I'm doing or I'm trying to portray in the shot, we can touch the camera, and then another department after.
Oh, good.
Afterwards, we'll retouch that camera to make it final.
And is any angle in that specific shot then usable, or is it only perfected for the angles?
It depends how you animate. It depends how you animate. If you look at my shots from like a different angle, it's gonna look crap. A lot of people animate towards camera, but they try to emphasize or they try to make you look at it in all perspectives to make sure it's not breaking anything. That also helps for like cloth, the later departments, because if there's like a hand behind the screen and it goes inside the body, the cloth is going to explode, you know, because the calculations are going to, so we have to be mindful of it, but sometimes because of time constraints and stuff, you just kind of
sometimes you have to also break the rig because of the camera. Like, I think, what was the last, in Encanto, there's this one famous scene where she's holding up stuff. But if you look at it from a different perspective, you see like the arms are like broken in three directions just to put those hands in front of the camera.
It's to get that kind of forced perspective to see. Because we have to, like, we work towards our screen in the, you know, so we have to make sure it looks good on screen and it looks kind of okay behind. But
and let's say you finish a scene, do you then fully render it and then use that as a piece, or is it just like?
No, it goes to post-production probably.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm wondering.
But like, what's the time between you've animated it and you see the final result?
It takes a while. Because there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of departments afterwards. All the cloth has to be simulated. All the hair has to be simulated. Then lighting has to be done. Compositing has to be done. Grading. So it takes a while to get to the final result. There's this
mind-boggling shots in Toy Story, I think the last one, 4 probably. Where, I mean, they're digital cameras. They're inside a 3D program, but they're using real life lenses to make it look authentic, like actual toys. But there's this one shot where there's someone close to the camera and someone far away from the camera, and they both have to be
sharp or like kind of readable.
Focus.
Yeah, there's a term for that, but I forgot.
Yeah, and there's this special lens they use in real life when they need to do that, where they like snap it in half, like it's half this lens, half that lens, and you see the border if you notice it.
Or the border's like a bit fuzzy. And then
you don't need to do that digitally, but they did. Like that's why what the amount of work to have that authenticity.
I guess they like to they like to make sure that they do stuff in a really how do I say that? Like
tangible, maybe?
Yeah, tangible way, like a researched way. Like it's probably for them to understand it better, you know?
Like
let's do it from a movie background. Let's do it the real way. Because a lot of notes that we get on like cameras or stuff is like, it has to feel like there's a man behind the camera or like a person behind the camera. You know, like it should feel like if the camera does like weird stuff, like floating and stuff, like, oh, we would never be able to do that in live action.
Yeah.
They want to, they want to make sure that
it will take you out of the
camera language stays grounded in reality. Because obviously also like people are maybe going to be like, oh. Like people are not going to be reacting to it the same as
in live action. That's the same thing when you see a shot and the camera does like just a drone shot, but you think like, all right, this is all CG because that camera movement is impossible. You never thought about it, but people would have the same reaction in animated movies.
It takes away from the moment that you're in, because you're going to focus on what the hell is this camera doing? Yeah. You know, like it takes away from the story, from the emotion. So it's they try to keep it grounded in real camera techniques.
I know that they did for the movie Surf's Up. They animated all the scenes and then they built a rig for somebody to hold the camera so they can move around and film the characters, because they wanted to have it as a documentary style.
Like handheld.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So the camera needed to work as if it was being filmed by a documentary team. So they could look inside this camera to see the picture of the movie.
Yep.
And that way then they filmed it. So it's literally...
Which is in 3D, right?
Yeah, which is in 3D. So it's a crazy thing, which was in, I think, 2007, 2008 somewhere.
It's an old movie.
So they didn't have like 5 trackers and everything. So it's completely different time.
And it still holds up pretty well. Like
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
It's a good movie. Like animation-wise, I don't know, but like it's a good and like special kind of movie.
Because it was done by Sony Animation.
Yes.
Nice segue.
Segue to...
I didn't work on that movie.
I know you didn't work on that movie, but you did work for Sony Animation.
I did, yeah, for 6-ish years.
Yeah. So what movies did you work on there?
So I started with Hotel Transylvania 3. I worked on Spider-Verse, the first one, which was pretty crazy. I did a bunch of stuff. Vivo, Hotel Transylvania 4.
Yeah.
4? It's called Transformania.
Yeah.
It's nice though. I was able to be a lead on that show.
It's the one that got transformed into
so
normal.
the guy gets transformed into a monster.
They zip some weird potion and they all flip, like the humans become monsters and the monsters become humans.
Yeah.
It's a fourth movie in that.
I saw the cover recently somewhere, like,
that ending of the third Transylvania one with the entire boat party. That's such a crazy scene. It's so funny.
Yeah, with the dance stuff and everything.
Yeah, it's so weird.
That was Gendy, like the director.
Yeah,
like,
from,
let's do like something.
Powerpuff Girls. And
I was like, let's do something stupid. Let's just end with the Macarena. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, let's do that. It was
such a crazy guy, because he also did Dexter's Laboratory. I was telling back in the day.
Yeah, I was telling on stage, he's a genius. That was probably one of my favorite movies to work on, just because of his vision and the way he was very efficient with notes, and he would just draw. He was just like, no, this character just has to do this. He draws 2 poses, like that's what the character has to do.
Yeah, and you can feel that in the meshes of those characters. They do feel very much like his art style, like the very. It's like kind of hooky, kind of sharp, but also very fluid models.
He would often do drawovers and ask like, hey, hit this pose. I don't want you to do your own version. Just hit this pose, which might sound a bit weird, but it was just efficient. And you knew it was going to be good.
It's a vision, right?
Isn't then the rigs of those characters very complicated?
They were actually very basic, but what we had to do to them was very complicated.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the rigs, because the rigs kind of stem from the first Hotel Transylvania. They just kind of kept them, maybe tweaked them a little bit. But it was a lot of like, so you have the basic rig and then you have to, okay, let's literally sculpt every frame or almost every frame to kind of get the result that we want. So it was a lot of sculpting and like, like actually modeling.
For people who don't know at home, usually you have like a rig. It's basically like you would take a puppet and you have strings and you can move the strings in the puppet rig.
You move the bones.
You move exactly the entire structure, but you know, if this bends, then the arm would bend properly and stuff.
We recently talked about this, about the breasts update from Stellar Blade. That weird game.
Yeah, so very simplistic. You kind of know how the body's going to react if you animate it. You're not really concerned with that. You're if you animate, you primarily animate on a very rough version of the model, right?
Yeah, in a certain phase, yes. Like to kind of block it out, we would maybe animate on like a low poly version so that it's quicker because it's very heavy and stuff.
Yeah.
But then once we get into it, we have to really like work with the high poly model, clean it up and stuff. But that's like a later.
That's a later.
You do that maybe after you get like an approval first of the director and stuff.
Exactly. But then the phase that you're talking about is more like, even if you use what's there, you wouldn't have the result that is needed.
So for Hotel Transylvania, that was definitely, we needed to break the rig all the time. Because if you would use the default rig, it would just look not like Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, very stiff, probably.
Because it's a very 2D-ish feel, and you just can't get that from a 3D model unless you really sculpt it or create it.
And was that the same with Spider-Verse?
Yeah, in a way, the rigs were a little bit better. Very heavy, very heavy, but they were a little bit better. But we still had to sculpt a lot, and yeah, there as well. It's such a graphical movie. Like all the shapes are graphic, and we don't have motion blur. Oh, that was a big thing. We don't have motion blur, so every frame kind of has to look good.
Yeah, it has to be on.
Because as we know, or we've talked about it in the podcast as well, there was animation on halves.
On two frames.
On two frames, yeah.
Or sometimes on ones if we wanted the feel to be a little bit smoother.
Was that something you had to take into account as an animator, or did you just animate as always and it was like a decision at a certain point?
No, it was
in post, like
No, it was definitely a creative choice that was given to the animators to really make sure you make your shot the way you want it to be on twos or on ones, whatever. But that was very much a thing that we had to control. Yeah. But it also, it's cool because it gives you that creative freedom, right? And
because you're actually animating more like you would do with 2D animation instead of 3D animation.
Kind of. The thing is, like the way that we would approach it, because we would have some tools to like put stuff on two frames. So a lot of us would animate just kind of normally on ones, spline it. I don't know.
Yeah, so
how familiar you guys are still with the animation terms?
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
but Chat probably doesn't.
So let's say you set the beginning, you set the end, and you let the computer kind of make the flow between the two extremes.
So we would animate like that, and then oftentimes if you put that on two frames, and also every frame would be held, right? It wouldn't be smooth. So if you put that with a tool puff on 2 frames, it would actually look pretty good already, even though it might not look good if it's like just normally animated.
Yeah.
I hope that all makes sense. To me, it all makes sense.
So
but obviously,
like what the tool did, it kind of filled in those blanks. And in most cases, you're like, oh, these poses are good enough. You play the animation, it looks great.
Yes. But we could also go in and be like, okay, we're going to amplify these poses.
Yeah, like hold the beginning a little bit more and then make it animate or snap or snip into position. Yeah.
And it was super fun.
Which characters did you primarily do there? Or a bit of everything?
You have a favorite shot from Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah. I do have a shot where Peter Parker, the chubby Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Peter B. Parker?
Yeah, Peter B. Parker, the chubby one. He's like kind of standing on a car and he's saying like, give me the goober or something. I forgot the line. Do you know? I don't know.
The USB goober.
Yeah, like, they always have a goober. Give it. And then he goes to like Miles that's like hanging on the wall. He's like, give it. I like that because it went really smoothly, that shot. I shot like reference for it. They loved it. And then I put that into animation. And it was kind of really a nice, easy shot to get through. And it looks good. So I like it.
It's one of my favorite things to see, like on YouTube, like the animator reference versus the final shot.
Yeah.
Do you keep your reference, or do you like the moment you don't need anymore, like shift, delete, get it out of?
I mean, nowadays it's nice to make those comparison reels, right? So it's like I usually do keep them to like maybe in the future, like make like a little comparison reel. It's just fun to do, and you can kind of show off a little bit. And so I do tend to keep it. Some stuff is just gone as well, like a lot of the Sony stuff. The reference is just in the Sony vault, so I can't really access it anymore. So it's kind of, I should have backed that up, but it's where you find your character or where you find your performance, right? So it's still valuable and fun to look at. Yeah.
Like in the previous talk, we had summary from Baldur's Gate 3. The question was asked, did you have the actors before you start making the characters? Because they did the characters, but they had no idea of who was the actor that did the characters, so they basically start from scratch. For animators, it's a little bit different on these bigger productions. Did you start with the motion or the actor's performance?
With the voice actors, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the voice actors. So usually we get, I mean, it depends. Usually in an ideal situation, we should have the voice acting of all the shots and all the stuff before we start working. A lot of times they use temp voice. Yeah. But then what they do now is like, oh, we have temp voice for this shot, so let's not start on it yet, because it will change. You know, if somebody like a random person records a line, and then the actor records a line, is going to be hugely different. So
especially if it's temp versus Jack Black,
yeah, right.
Yeah, or Nicolas Cage,
you
wouldn't know what he's gonna do.
No, So nowadays they're like, okay, we have just temp voices, so let's not start this sequence or this shots. Yeah, so we do need because it informs us about the emotion and the intention of the shot. And a lot of times, like we sometimes look at the recordings of those like voice acting sessions because we see their faces and we see sometimes they add some like fun stuff when they're like acting, and we use that to put into the animation.
And the directors were Lord and Miller, right?
Those were the producers.
The producers.
Yeah, there was.
Okay, we don't need to go in there, but
we have other questions.
I just wanted to know. I just kind of want to know.
Those were the producers.
Yeah, but they have any input on it? Because they have a very distinct style of movie making. Because they came from the Lego movie, I think, before.
Lego, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and stuff. They did.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, they had a lot of say. So the movie, a lot of times things would change and the directors wouldn't know.
Oh,
so they were basically like the higher directors, and they would make their own choices.
There's a totally different hierarchy in America compared to here, where producers are just,
they have their say, and they have their, and they specifically went very heavy on like, no, we want.
Yeah, and they have that track record. So
they have success, so they're kind of treated like
a little bit. Are they wrong?
You work in Vancouver, right?
Yes.
So it's not America, but
it's North America.
Like, let's say this movie that you worked on, MOANA 2, like how many studios are involved? Like how many HQs?
So right now that was a combination of the Vancouver studio and the Burbank studio.
Yeah.
So we worked together on that. Yeah.
So Burbank is the original.
How many animators are working on one character? Because you definitely see difference in style, or
it depends. Yeah, it's not really a given thing of like this amount of people is going to work on it. It just kind of depends. It doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah,
it doesn't really. It's not really like a determined thing. It's just like, hey, here's another shot with MOANA. You work on MOANA.
Can you spot the difference? Like, oh, that's made by my colleague. That one.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Or I mean, it's usually because I know they did it. It's not necessarily. Some people sometimes tell me, which is not necessarily a good thing. They're like, oh, I can recognize you in your animation. It's like, okay, that's cool, but it's actually not that good because it should be the character and not me.
Should be a unified
But it's tough sometimes.
Isn't it hard to work on something like that with a remote other studio? Like,
it's kind of what I've been doing at Sony as well, because all the the directors and stuff, they're all in America as well. So we always work a bit through Zoom and stuff.
Artists together, right? Or you have very restricted, like you do this exactly and you don't have like other interference with other.
I mean, if you're working on your shot, it depends. Like if you have ownership over your shot, you basically just kind of do all the stuff within your shot. But sometimes there's like, okay, you do this character, I do this character in the same shot, and then we have to work together a little bit. I guess the biggest thing is like if I have a shot and somebody else has a shot after mine, we sometimes talk.
It has to sync a bit
to make sure, like, hey, what are you? I'm gonna end in this pose, so you can pick up from there. So it doesn't become like super.
Can you still enjoy watching animated movies?
Yeah.
They're
the best movies. Why wouldn't?
I mean, I do. I have the same thing when I'm watching films. Like I'm analyzing the acting and the directing, and I'm like,
only if it's bad. If it's good, you normally.
If it's really good, it just takes you. But,
the thing is, I became way more critical about animated movies.
Yeah.
Because like I used to watch all of them in the beginning when I was a student. I was like, oh, I watch everything. Like, oh, the Polar Express. Wow. I'm like,
have you spotted T-posing elf in the back?
It does have a drifting train though. So,
and then nowadays it's like, okay, I would not watch that. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of Disney movies yet.
Yeah, but the Polar Express is a bit of an exception. Right?
I know, but like
in the day it was
when I would be a student, I'd be like, oh, okay, I still want to watch it because I'm but it's like, but nowadays I'm like, this movie doesn't look good. I'm not gonna watch it.
I remember the first time in the late 90s or early 2000s when the cartoons on TV suddenly became 3D, like Jimmy Neutron, and the Starship Troopers 3D animation.
That one was pretty cool.
Yeah, they were all cool at that point. It's like, it's 3D. I don't care about the story. I want to see 3D.
Reboot, the first one, is actually still pretty impressive by today's standard. Like the tech that they had for a TV show in, I think it's 1994 that they made this. Mainframe Entertainment. It's impressive. It's very impressive.
They're making I think they're doing a new one.
They had like this.
They did something new.
They did something on Netflix, which was like a live action show with then 3D bits. But it did keep legacy like story beats from the original.
That's cool.
So it didn't look like a direct sequel, but then in the end they were like, yeah, but look at this character. It is a direct sequel. And everybody went, whoa. But I think they now uploaded the original show on YouTube finally. And they also have some show notes and everything. So very interesting to see.
We have another question from chat. What's your top animated movies of all time?
Probably Akira.
Oh, Yeah, of course.
Isn't that
Fair.
Isn't that like the base of every?
Excluding anime. That's not
They
fair.
recently said they could never make it again.
No.
Akira can never be done. A, because the budget today's standards is impossible, but also because the guy who mixed the paint didn't tell anybody how they mixed the paint. So they don't know how they could get certain colors, like the Canada's bike. It's like nobody knows how to do that in actual paint.
Yeah.
Because it's also
grades.
to do with how it reflects the colors, the lights that gets shown through the
Most?
Light
cells.
Yeah,
cells.
the cells, yeah.
So it's very complicated stuff.
It's a different breed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
I think, if I would say like 3D movies, I feel like my favorite movies were kind of from before I started working on this kind of movies. So I would think like The Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the first one was.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Which always in my mind stays amazing. And the first like Hotel Transylvania, all those were, to me, were like reasons I wanted to go to Sony. I wanted to go, like, so to me, those types of, Cloudy and Hotel T1, I think.
Yeah,
I was
Sony
gonna
animation always gets kind of shafted when it comes to like everybody's Disney and Pixar.
They do
But they
great
did
stuff.
so many good things that were just different because they always animated more like they were 2D animators instead, or like the visual style of the movie was more 2D oriented than 3D. I feel like.
Yeah. They have a lot of like pushed animation. Can
you explain that? Pushed animation?
Just like very kind of extreme or like snappy, like with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, very graphic, like
It's a lot of movement.
They don't have an elbow. They have a bend.
a noodle, but like a designed noodle, so it's like really nice. Sony does. The fact that they do so many different styles is quite impressive, actually, because it's all from the same people,
Yeah,
but they
because
just push for different styles.
It's like they say like this has the Pixar look, but you can't say that's the Sony look.
They that's also because Sony doesn't do movies, or I mean they do, but they do movies for vendors, right? They do movies for other companies. They don't only do their own movies. Because like Hotel Transylvania and stuff, I think are their own property or propriety. But like movies like Storks, I think, or like
Storks was for Warner Bros.
Yeah, Angry Birds was for Rovio, whatever, and for Warner Brothers and stuff. They have vendors that also maybe demand different styles. So they, like Pixar does stuff for Pixar. Disney does Disney. Like they do, they work with different people, different clients. So
even Storks. I think it's like this forgotten one. I don't think a lot of people.
Storks, man, it's amazing.
Super good.
The animation is one of
Andy
the
Samberg
best.
as well.
Animation is one of the best.
It's a very funny one. It's a very funny one.
Somebody
Storks, yeah.
What made you switch to Disney then?
Because
don't have to answer it. Obviously.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, that's part of it. But
where was that?
Also in Vancouver.
Okay.
So the thing is, Disney opened the Vancouver studio, right? But that was only after like I'd been at Sony for like 5 or 6 years, and I had been at the point where I was like, I've been here for a while. I kind of want to do something else because I mean, before Sony, I would jump around from. Places. Like I did my talk and I'm like, I go there and I go there and I go there. I like to go to different places, but then at Sony, I stayed for like 5 or 6 years. And I was like, you know what? I don't mind switching it up again. And then Disney came and I was like, okay, I can't pass up on a possible Disney job, So it was like when they came,
it's one of those check marks on a resume.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, Disney, bum. And obviously, I mean,
Sony,
check.
Disney.
I
get it.
And they have done great movies.
Is there like any character out there that you would say, oh, that's a character I really want to animate? That's something that it's like the bucket list.
I have to think about that.
He's thinking about Batman.
Or I'm always thinking Batman.
I mean, Batman would
any
be
game
fun.
that you would like to make a
like
movie
animate?
about?
Damn, that's a tough question. Yeah,
Need for
probably.
Speed.
That movie was not that good.
Not just animate the wheels.
Probably.
The movie was okay.
What?
Which one?
Need for Speed.
Oh, Need for Speed.
Yeah.
It was okay. But
I don't know.
they were
I'm not sure.
It's fine to not have
I'm not
it.
sure.
It's like anything Because of course, the next you don't know which characters are still gonna get created.
I
He did Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know.
After that, it's just like fucking whatever.
But yeah, for some people, it would be a dream to animate Spider-Man. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
It was that's how I felt when we kind of first went into it. It was like, because I didn't know it was going to be like the Spider-Verse style. They just said, hey, we're going to do a Spider-Man movie. I was like, okay,
yeah,
cool. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Spider-Man, but I like him.
You think and then the first animated show that they did in the early 2000s with Neil Patrick Harris as Spider-Man. If you look at that animation now, you're going to be like, as long as it's not that.
Yeah. Oh, there's this horrible Spider-Man for kids animation on
Spider Babies or
Disney Plus.
My kid loves it.
Holy shit!
It works.
Horrible. Okay. I mean, there's kids shows where you go like, okay, this is for kids, and you have kids shows that like, oh, I could watch along.
In America,
like
it's really big. I was in Toronto last week, 2 weeks ago. And in Walmart, there were full rayons of only that
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is the biggest property.
No, but the for kids one.
Yeah, but
we don't have those here.
Baby Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Do you know Pocoyo?
Oh yeah, that little blue guy.
That's probably one of the best kid shows ever. It looks amazing. Pocoyo. It's like very limited background.
Kids with like blue hat,
super cute. Super cool animation, pushed as well, like stylized.
It's like,
and it's like very basic backgrounds, just white, like with music and sound. And
it's the same with the Calimero. They had like the CG one.
Yeah,
that one. And
actually, I haven't seen it. I saw some stills from it. It looked cool.
Yeah, the French, but it's French animation. French animation is its own thing.
They know what they're doing.
They really know what they're doing.
It's
so cool.
French is always crazy pushed and like
they really find the edges and they're like, let's try this.
Yeah,
and it works. It works for them.
Their ways of doing things. Amazing. Can you find it?
Yeah.
It's a Spanish.
I want the reboot of the Moomins.
It's still super popular.
I really liked that as a kid.
They had a CG Moomin show a couple years back, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's super popular in Japan and Sweden. And
of course.
Also Nordic.
And they have some 3D stuff. Yeah,
and there's even a game. Yeah. There's a new game.
A new one?
Oh, yeah, since a couple of weeks, I think. There's a LRG? Physical one, LRG. Yeah. So it just stays very popular property.
Very niche.
Movements. It's cute. It's nice. I like it.
It's been a while.
I think the original
still play games between all the...
Oh, I do. Yeah. I actually picked up on playing games. Like I play more now. Kind of escape.
Get away from the animation.
I do. I've been playing Battle Bits a lot. Do you know that?
Battle Bits?
It's like this low poly online shooter.
It's like Warzone, but in like polygon characters.
It's super good. It's like super low poly.
I thought it died. It was super popular at the launch. Everyone was playing it.
I'm playing it with my brother a lot, so we kind of play together, but it's super fun. It's just killing people and shooting people.
Isn't it like 240 in a big lobby?
Yeah. You can play 127 to 127. Yeah. That's like the latest thing I've been playing. Battle.
That's crazy.
It sounds stupid, but it's really fun.
And like story-based games, anything?
Yeah. I mean, I love Death Stranding.
Oh,
I'm really looking forward to the second one. I know a lot of people are like divided on that, but I loved it.
I played the first one. I still don't know after finishing it if I like it or if I don't like it. I just kept playing it. The story is very nonsensical at certain points. But at a certain point, you're like, yeah, but now I want to do this. I want to do that. It's very free, but I still don't know if it's good or bad. It's amazingly made.
Yeah,
it's one of the most impressive games ever made.
I thought it was
the environments, the characters, the animation, everything is like
when you start and you go into the thing and the music starts.
Yeah.
What am I? This is
and then like the minimal, the beginning credits, of course, 300 times his own name, but
but I mean, I thought it was a beautiful game. It's weird as hell, but that's why I love it. Just because it's strange.
I think the second one will be, for a lot of people, way more approachable because with the director's cut, he already changed a lot of things.
I didn't play that one actually.
I played the director's cut, so it's way more. It
has the Kojima box, right, where you can sit inside the Metal Gear box.
Yeah, and you can have training levels where you can just do everything with the guns, whatever you want. So it's not as punishing as the original. And I think some extra dungeons and everything. Dungeon. What do they call it? The vault, basically. But I think they learned a lot because he still needed to make a game. And I think a lot of people, like they say, it's now its own genre, the Stranding genre.
The Stranding, yeah.
That now he realized, I think after that one, maybe it should have been a game.
But fair enough.
It's still impressive.
I'm still looking forward to it. Even like the trailers now, it's like, what the hell? And with the little puppet on, also too, like weird frame rate.
Everybody was
what
like,
is this weird
what
thing? But I'm super excited for it. I'm super happy to see the weirdness.
But I think that's exactly what he wants, right?
Yeah.
That's his thing.
Yeah, the weirder the better.
Random question: how did you end up going to a time zone? What is it, like -10 in Vancouver?
9 hours. Yeah,
9 hours. Yeah, like from Belgium to Vancouver is quite a switch.
I mean, we flew in yesterday, so I'm still.
Yeah, but like I'm back in the day, right? To Sony.
Ouch.
How that was?
Yeah.
I mean, you.
How did you?
I mean, Vancouver is the hotspot for
there's a
film
lot
and
of
animation.
Yeah, but you still have to decide. I'm gonna go to Vancouver. Right?
I mean, I kind of talked about it as well. Like, I always wanted to really go abroad. You know, I always wanted to go to.
Same, but still, I'm here.
You're still doing cool stuff. So,
Yeah.
like, that was always like a goal of mine, and I was lucky enough to be able to get, have my trajectory to get there. But it was
Same, but I decided not to do it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. It's good.
Kids, unlucky.
Well, I don't have kids yet, but we're thinking about it.
So the jet lag, how is it?
The wink.
Yeah, my girlfriend's sitting there, so I'm just looking at her every now and
I'm
then.
gonna if she wants to join, I'm
No,
gonna
I don't think so.
No,
She wants to stay off camera.
How's the jet lag?
The jet lag is, I mean, it's pretty. I felt right before I had to talk, I was like, I feel a little bit woozy, but maybe that was just nerves or something. But no,
I
it's
have
fine.
Dexter Energy if you want.
No, it's okay.
Maybe it's best that we explained that you were winking at your girlfriend because it looked like, the chat says it looked like you winked at Jerre.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we want kids. Wink.
Wink.
I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
It's okay.
My poor anus.
Do you have any do you have any
Okay, yeah.
good advice for people who want to be an animator?
Good advice. Yeah, I said it before as well, I guess, but just try to really understand like the basics.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, it's just something that you hear all the time, but I think it's very important because a lot of people want to get to like, oh, I want to do this cool animation already. And they kind of start or they jump ahead a little bit. I think it's good to like, grasp all the fundamentals and the basics by doing exercises, a lot of exercises, and just try to get to a good point. Maybe that's a bit straightforward answer, but
It's the basics, is passion.
Yeah.
Keep learning. Try
have a
things.
portfolio.
Yeah. And then
Failing will
try to push
you
yourself.
will always fail.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the whole setup,
Yeah,
right?
you always feel. I mean, even I'm like animating for 13 years, and I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. Like it.
The imposter syndrome.
Yeah, 100%.
I think a lot of people in the content or everybody who's really passionate about something has that.
We all feel like a hack.
We all feel like we want to how do you say that? You want to have everything perfect, like perfectionist. Like so it's like and people are like, no, your shot was good. No, I don't like it. It happens all the time,
especially if you watch it afterwards.
Yeah.
You ever saw a mistake of your own?
Yeah, there's some mistakes left and right, but then it doesn't really. I know
in the final
mistakes.
product, right?
Yeah. It's like if you, I forgot to press this button to sim stuff or to do anything.
As long as there's no T-posing in the background or
like penetrations, like something's going through like a leaf
that
or like a.
I was like, wow, this is going.
We're back to the
3D,
stuff,
3D penetration. Yeah.
Well, Disney has some background in that stuff, so.
What? Oh yeah, the
takes in background.
The rescues.
Really? Oh, I think actually no. Yeah.
I thought there was like a
There's
Easter egg
in one window, and nobody actually knows who put it in, but all the animators are protecting each other. Like, oh, we don't know.
I have no idea either. No.
That's an old 50s movie, I think. The Rescuers.
Oh, so it's not a recurring thing.
I'm pretty sure that Disney really checks up on
big sets.
Yeah.
We had an animator last year, I think. Didn't we? And he put his no, I'm confusing things. But there was a guy who worked on and Sackboy and other stuff, and he put his name in as many things as he could. Like in Sackboy in the first level, if you go to the left, there's like a suitcase with his name on it. That's or something. Cool, yeah. Is that something you?
Are there Easter eggs?
I want to do or try to
sometimes
do?
we put in like I don't know, like in Spider-Verse there's a lot of stuff where I put in like some like I don't know, Hail Satan stuff or like metal stuff in like a smear frame, like the hand goes out and you're like one frame is like and then you go out.
Was very Tenacious D.
Yeah. Stuff like that, stupid stuff like that. Or sometimes if you animate like background characters, you can make them do, you can have them say stuff. Because you don't see what they're saying, but you do the lip sync, you know, you animate the mouth and you just hey.
Blah blah blah, some VERSCHRAEGEN, blah blah blah.
You just can come up with whatever you want because nobody will know unless they're like, you know, perfect at lip reading, but you can have them say whatever you want. So sometimes
there's a deaf person watching your movie like, the fuck was he doing?
Sometimes we put in some fun little lip sync things.
All right.
Yeah. But that's about it. Yeah. I try to be a good employee, you know.
Want to get paid? I don't know.
What's his opinion about Kubo and the Two Strings? Or did I miss that? He thinks it's the best movie. What?
No,
Kubo and the Two Strings.
No idea.
Do you know that?
I know Kubo is from Leica. It's stop motion animation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's cool. I liked it, but I think I didn't fully understand it when I saw it. I thought it was about dementia. About something else. I liked it though. I think the art direction is really cool. And the movie is great as well. But I feel like I missed something when I watched this. So I was a bit baffled at the end.
Oh, okay.
But I think I said Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. And the first Hotel Transylvania.
And the first Hotel Transylvania.
Exactly. Yeah. I was paying attention. Good points. All right.
Well, that's we're gonna let you have some fun here.
It was super nice to be here. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, hey.
When I saw you were having they gave us a list like these people are coming. And I saw your name. I was like, fuck yes, it's been.
That's cool. Yeah, super nice.
I vaguely remember that we were like the animators of the bunch because you had programmers, artists, and everyone wanted to get into gaming. And then there was like just us two. Like, we want to get into animating. And I did a stage somewhere where I had to intern. Yeah, I was an intern somewhere where I worked on animation. And then after that, just never did it again.
Fair enough.
I did graphic
design
for the VRT.
Ah, cool.
So all
there's always some experience in there.
It's animating, but it wasn't character animation.
Yeah, it's more like motion graphics or
motion graphics and stuff, and
a lot of cool stuff in that field as well. You know?
Yeah, and now I'm I hit a burnout, then stopped doing it, like full-time content creation.
Man, that happens.
And I never want to do graphic design again.
That happens. Burnout is real. You got to watch out.
Yeah.
Same in your industry.
Have you come close to burnout?
I think I went through a burnout not too long ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, unfortunately, very common in the industry.
Is the switch to Disney recent then?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a...
Sorry, I switched. I've been there for like a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a change of pace that is very welcome, probably.
It's good. I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself because this quality is so high.
Yeah.
But everybody is great.
And imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about as well. Everybody's amazing. So all the people around you are like amazing animators, and it's like, okay, now I have to be.
You got to stand out. Yeah.
Now I have to do good stuff as well. It's
the
tough,
baseline
but
is.
Yeah, it's easy to lose. Confidence in yourself, but it comes and goes, you know. Sometimes you feel good, like, oh, I really loved what I did with this shot, and then sometimes you feel like shit. That's just part of being an artist, I think. So
or anything in creation, I think. Or, I don't know the better word.
Anything in a creative field, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. That was super nice.
All right.
Whenever we're in Canada, we'll do another episode.
Yeah, you were in Canada recently.
Yeah, tell me when you're there, and if you're in Vancouver
but I'm
or whatever.
Toronto,
yeah, it's a little bit.
Just
like 4,000 kilometers that way.
Small drive.
Small drives. Yeah. But okay, it was cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Right.